So let's look at adjusting the Service Console settings. And so as a reminder, you go into Apps in Setup and click on the Apps link under Create to get to the console applications. And you can see the ones that are console applications through this console column here. We have just the one that's checked. You can create a new console app by clicking New and selecting console for the type of application, and then for the app label, we're just going to call this Service Cloud, and then clicking next will just skip over doing a custom image, and we'll just leave the default. And here's where we can select the different objects available to us in the console. So we've got cases, and let's go ahead and select accounts and contacts. Let's go ahead and do macros just for grins, and let's see, looking for surveys. So you need to control click. If you forget and let go of the control or command button and click, then you lose your selections like I just did. So I'm going to multi-select these again and move them over to the selected items. I'm going to move accounts to the top, and then go ahead and move contacts and then cases, and then we'll click next. And then as well, and we've seen a lot of this in the context of when we previously adjusted the console settings, and so I thought we would kind of reiterate this in this lecture, but also revisit it by creating a new application in case you don't have the sample console available in your own free developer account. I'm doing this because a lot of my students in my admin course were reporting over time, just from time to time, that they didn't have the sample console in their own free developer account. And so it seems like Salesforce kind of hides and shows that sample console, or includes it and then removes it from the free developer accounts. And so I wanted to take you through the process of creating a console application as well from scratch. And so we're going to set the account as a primary tab, contact as a sub-tab of account, case as a sub-tab of we'll leave it as contact, that's the default there, and macro will be a primary tab. In the survey, we're going to do that as a sub-tab of account as well. Click next, and then we're going to make this visible to all profiles in our org, and click save. And so now with this new console application, we'll have the sample console, and then we'll have our Service Cloud console. And you notice another checkbox here. This is a custom application. This means that I created this. It's not one that's out of the box. And so I can click on here and select Service Cloud, and that's my new console app that I just created. So now we're going to need to do some customizations because we lost our list view setting. We've got our interaction log here because that's set on the page layout. But now let's go into, as the name of this lecture implies, and adjust the Service Console settings. So if I go back into apps, and we're going to deal with the Service Cloud settings, and we're going to click edit next to it. A couple of things we're going to do is I'm going to add a description, and then as well, it's here that we can do the list placement. And so for this one, I'm going to do the list at the top and have a height of 30%. So 30% of the screen real estate will be the list view at the top instead of the side, so you can see what that's like. And then as well, we'll use these console components down at the bottom in the footer. And then we're just going to have the lists refresh by row, and then the detail page will just flag any changes there. We'll enable tab limits as well. We'll just take the defaults of 20 and 10. And then for profile visibility, we'll just leave this the same. And what I might actually do is make this Service Cloud app that we just created the default application for my own profile here. So I'm going to click save. And so now with these setting changes, we'll go back to the Service Cloud console application, and you can see the lovely list view at the top here, and this is just not a great experience. So let me select cases and see if those look any different. So there's just not enough screen real estate to see that. So we're going to adjust our settings some more, and this is a good example of life in the real world where you've got to customize things. You may think, well, let's put this on the left, but I'm going to go ahead and just increase the percentage and see what the impact is there. And we'll click save and go back to our console app called Service Cloud, and this is still hideous. I'm refreshing to see if it's any better, and it seems like it didn't pick up my changes too well. I'm going to hide the interaction log. I'm going to drag this down, and so this is really more representative of 50%. I think there's some caching or memory issue here, and that's why it didn't show the proper heights of the two different pieces of this console. So you get the idea though as far as how you can adjust the settings of a Service Console application. And so we've gone through the process of creating a new application that's a console application called Service Cloud. And we've done some adjustments to the settings. We've also set this as our default application. And so now we're going to hop into a sample question from the exam guide in the next lecture that has to do with things that we've just covered in the previous lecture. So stay tuned as we dive into sample question number 2.